I think from the point of view of science, when we think of artists, we think of them as the word that we'll associate with them is creation. Whereas the word that they will use probably more often will be a multitude of other words, expressing, reframing, challenging. They don't think themselves as creating. But I think the lesson in there is how hard these people work. I recently calculated the numbers. Picasso had a long career. And if you look at how many objects are associated with his name, you discover that for almost a career that spanned 70 years, probably more, he started painting well at 15. He produced almost an object a day for 80 years. Wow. Andy Warhol had a shorter career. It was 28 years. Yeah. For 2 years he did nothing because he was shot by a range fan. And more is even an object and a quarter period per day. But the same thing applies even to Edward Munch. There was recently an exhibit in the Art Institute, and you look at how many things have been catalogued belonging to him without looking at even notebooks, and it's about an object a day. So people go to museums, they see this, but they don't think about this.
About how prolific they really
are.
No,
they think of the masterpiece. Yeah. They think that in a moment of inspiration, people produce these great things. Now, in science, it's even worse, because in science, you don't see all the steps. Right. You see the final, finished, perfect product. And all the other things you just throw under the rug. And then you have to...
you don't see that body of work, you're saying.
No.
Yeah, no. Right, that's interesting. Yeah.
So there's a tendency for people who come into science of thinking, wow, these people have really great ideas. What they don't see is all the bad ideas that they had and did not work. So the idea of being almost obsessive about something and constantly working about something, I think this translates to every domain. But in the visual arts especially, everything that you have done counts. Whereas in science, what counts is the final piece.
Right. That's very interesting. And it's interesting too that you had talked earlier about artists really liking to control things. And you're an artist. And yet, as I'm hearing you describe a lot of the process of the science, a lot of it's making mistakes. So there is a real need to allow people or somehow inspire people, I would assume, to make these mistakes to get the scientific creation that you're looking for in the end. How do you really juggle that with your artistic desire to control?
I think we have to be in control of the final piece. And even when you think that you have reached the final piece, I think it's a good idea to kind of step back, look at what you have done, and decide if that's what you have done. There is a great painting in the Art Institute in Chicago. It's one of the few examples that I know like this. There is a painting when Picasso got to a period in which he was painting these almost Greek-like figures, full women. There's a painting called Mother and Child. There's a mother, deceased in the back. There's a baby in the arms. And the story is that a fellow who was a partner in Skidmore visited Picasso in his studio. And either described that he had the painting or that the painting had been exhibited in Chicago. And Picasso said something to the effect, that painting used to be different. Initially I had a concept that there would be a man holding a fish, and the baby would be trying to touch the fish. But when I finished, I decided that that's not what I wanted, and I cut a piece. He cut basically a fourth of the painting. He painted over, He said, by the way, I have the piece, and if you want, you can take it with you. And the Art Institute has the piece, and sometimes they used to put the two side by side. So the point of this is that when you, at some point, you declare something done, and you say, it's done. It's the book, the play, the theory, the sculpture, the building. But before you declare it done, and that's where perfection is needed, you have to step back and decide if what you have done, especially in cases in which there have been many voices, is actually what you wanted to do. Because there are lots of compromises in between.
Right.
When you put a book or a film, and then someone needs to make the decision, is this what I wanted to do? And that's a lesson that very few people take, but applies to a whole bunch of things.
Right. And do you have a process for making that decision, or is it more a matter of reminding yourself to step back and ask yourself the question?
I think it has to become like second nature.
Yeah.
In the same way that, for example, you shouldn't be enamored to the first idea that you have, and jumping very quickly to the implementation step. And if you train yourself, you will never take the first idea as the great idea. It may well be that the first idea was good, but I think it's always dangerous to jump in science, technology, everything, into falling in love with the first idea.